What's up everyone, OJ here. Welcome back to another Fire Emblem video. Today we're doing things a little bit different. I've got some of the help of the PE Ninja out there, all of the Fire Emblem fans, to vote on a poll recently about what game that you would like to see in the Fire Emblem Echoes type of treatment. So one of the previous games, like for example Fire Emblem Gaiden, getting brought back over as Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia. There are a number of games that you guys were able to pick from, and we're gonna go over some of those results and talk about what game won and why that game I think actually has a very good chance of being brought over. But before we get into that, I do want to talk about the Fire Emblem Three Houses official Nintendo.com page. So if you want to learn more about Fire Emblem Three Houses and you haven't already seen it on this channel, well, one, you should check out this channel. Go through my Fire Emblem tab on the main page. You'll be able to figure out pretty much anything that you want to know about the game when it comes to the characters, when it comes to the gameplay, the combat. There's a lot of stuff already on the channel about that. However, if you want to go check out some more of the stuff and read up on the game and the characters, Nintendo's got your back, because I actually got a chance to check out the full site for the Fire Emblem Three Houses, which everything's not up, I guess, so there are some character profiles missing and some house profiles missing, but you can still see a lot of information. I'm going through it right now, and you can look at the characters, you can explore the academy, you can head into battle, and they even talked about the DLC and the vouchers. So any type of information that you want to know about Fire Emblem Three Houses that's already up, you can already do so. And they can tell you about some of the users in the house. They can tell you about the characters, where they come from. You can look at the continent. I mean, there's just all sorts of cool different things that you can go over. You can go over it via the interactive page, or you can go over at the top. It's very easy to navigate, and the site just looks absolutely amazing. They have some world-class designers working on this site, and it actually goes over. So for example, if you go to the Officers Academy, it'll go over kind of like the daily flow, which is very different from previous Fire Emblem games, where you have like your school days where you kind of go through during the week, you have objectives and goals, you have your free time to where you can do exploring, fishing, activities, stuff like that. You can do training missions as well, and other activities in terms of exchange students with the online stuff, see what other players are choosing. There's just a variety of different options, and of course they let us know about the amiibo in terms of what you can do there as well. So a lot of cool information, a lot of extra stuff, a lot of great art, and just more ways to get yourself kind of ready for Fire Emblem Three Houses coming out once again next Friday, or July 26th. This game is going to be coming out, and it's going to be pretty phenomenal. I'm expecting really good reviews. I'm expecting really good sales, which we will have a video more about the sales of the game and kind of like my predictions and stuff like that, because I've kind of readjusted things just a little bit since my last sales prediction video. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and get into this poll revealing what's going down with Fire Emblem Echoes. So what's going to be the next game, why I think it could be this game that you guys voted on, and kind of what makes this game the most unique, or probably the most interesting game to come over next. So this is the question that I asked on my community page. Make sure you guys are subscribed. If you're not subscribed, I'm going to be asking more questions of you guys when it comes to Fire Emblem and other Nintendo games, and if you have cool answers, you can definitely make it into a video as well. So here's the question that I posed: working on a new Fire Emblem video, which Fire Emblem game would you guys like to see get an Echoes style remake on the Nintendo Switch the most? But looking at these results right here, you guys can see, starting at the top and then going to the bottom, we had Fire Emblem Path of Radiance from the GameCube that got 26% of the over 1,000 votes. So pretty cool here, guys. I was actually pretty surprised with the turnout, considering when I looked at it to do this video, I didn't expect that many people in such a short amount of time to vote. But yeah, we got thousands of votes in just like a couple hours. So great stuff, guys, and probably a lot more will go down as this video is even going up. But look out for more posts, guys. We will have more videos that are like this, kind of tuned for what you guys want to hear about and getting your thoughts out there on Fire Emblem and other Nintendo franchises as well. Now next up is Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones on the GBA with 12% of the vote, so not too bad, but people weren't really feeling that one as much. And right here, right in the middle, and the highest one that you can clearly see, is Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War from the Super Nintendo with a whopping 46 50% of the vote, almost 50% of the vote. People are saying this game is the one that needs to be made next, and we're going to be talking about that because after reading up a little bit more, because I remember playing this game in Japanese back in the day, not knowing what the hell was going on, and also playing a little bit of a fan translation patch just for a bit when I was in college. Now next up is Fire Emblem The Binding Blade from the GBA, right underneath Sacred Stones. This is Roy's Adventure, that has 11%, and last is Fire Emblem Thracia 776. People were not feeling this one at all. I'm not really sure. I think it has to do with some of the story and the plot and kind of what's going on there, but only 5%. All of the other games doubled up or more on Fire Emblem Thracia 776. This is valuable information that I'm going to be selling to Nintendo for money. No, I'm joking on this one, but I think Nintendo will see this video at some point. When it comes to Fire Emblem, they watch my stuff. So maybe, just maybe, we have an influence on what could be happening next with Fire Emblem and what they do with the Echoes line, because they didn't rule it out. And I do think that there is going to be another Echoes type of title, but I'm not sure if Nintendo and Intelligent Systems know what game they want to do even at this point. I know they're probably planning something, but I'm not sure they know what game they want to do. I would actually be completely surprised if they already had a game picked out. So let's talk about Genealogy of the Holy War, because this is a very interesting game. There's a lot of unique aspects to it. Now, of course, with the story and everything, I'll leave you guys to go check that out. I just will say with the story that it's very sweeping. It is a gripping type of story that if it was brought over to the modern day with the technology that we have with the Nintendo Switch and what they can do, this would easily be the most emotional and possibly best story in a Fire Emblem game, just considering what's in Genealogy of the Holy War, what I read up on, what fans talk about. I've done a lot of looking into this when it comes to things, and this game is absolutely nuts when it comes to the story, and it's something that I see why so many people voted for it. I know what the reason is for that, so you guys can definitely check that out if you want to. What I'm going to be talking about is the gameplay mechanics, which is stuff that's not necessarily spoiler-ish because it's gameplay stuff. So what makes this game kind of different from other ones is kind of the format and the chapters in terms of what you have to do, countering and kind of attacking, and also what you do to clear the chapters. Now, instead of just doing one castle per chapter, you actually have to conquer multiple or capture multiple different castles, and the player will also have the castle in their possession at the start of each chapter that must not be conquered by the enemy. So it's just a very unique and different type of take on what they're doing, especially back then when it came out on the Super Famicom. Now, another thing about this one here is that there are pretty cool class changes in what you're doing there. It's actually kind of unique even within Fire Emblem, and what I love about this one the most with the class change is that you don't reset back down. I mean, that's one of the big things that I don't like about the newer end Fire Emblem games, like Fire Emblem Awakening. Once you do a class change, you go back down to level 1, and that's that, then you have to build back up. But in this game, it's actually more of like what we see with Fire Emblem Three Houses, and you don't actually go back down. You actually stay at 20, and then you can level up to 30. So instead of being reverted back to level 1, you can actually build up to 30. So that is really cool. You keep and maintain that level, and Genealogy of the Holy War did that when other Fire Emblem games didn't. And then also another thing that's really interesting about this game as well is the way that death works in there. So it is possible to bring back dead units, which for most part in the older Fire Emblem games, that was a no-go, but there is an item called the Valkyrie Staff, but it breaks after just one use, so very unfortunate when it comes down to it. However, it can be repaired, but for 30,000 gold. So that's just really bad. And based on certain story elements, when it comes down to it, guys, that can also be jeopardized as well. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you can do it, but it's very difficult. Money and items and durability, all that stuff kind of factor in as well. There's a relationship system, which many people praised so much with Fire Emblem Awakening. That was actually back in this game. So imagine how everybody was like praising their relationship and talk about how cool it was. This game, Genealogy of the Holy War, had it all the way back then, you know, decades ago at this point. So it's actually pretty cool that they did that. And just imagine the different type of stuff that they can do with this game, with the combat system, how you have to capture multiple different things, and also the birth or the beginning of the weapon triangle as well. This was the first installment of Fire Emblem to implement the patented weapon triangle of Fire Emblem with the rock, paper, scissors. So that's that's also something to take note of, and I think a lot of fans really appreciate that about this game. And also the skill system in the game as well, in terms of how you assign skills and how you gain skills to certain classes. Very cool way how they do it in terms of skills being activated by commands on the field, so stuff that we're used to kind of with some Fire Emblem games. So there's a lot of great stuff about Genealogy of the Holy War. Intelligent Systems and Nintendo are definitely having their ears to the ground in terms of what fans want, especially with a game like Fire Emblem. If you're looking at a lot of the stuff and feedback that we kind of gave them from Fire Emblem Fates and Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia, I think they took a lot of that into consideration with Fire Emblem Three Houses, especially DLC practices, relationships being expanded a bit, and other things as well with the combat and the difficulty. So I do feel that Nintendo's listening, and I think that honestly, guys, Genealogy of the Holy War, that could be a game if Nintendo starts hearing it and starts seeing people talk about it, more videos being made, that maybe we get something like that with a Echoes brand. And personally, for me, I would love Path of Radiance. That's one of my favorite Fire Emblem games. I love Ike. I think he's a great character in the Fire Emblem mythos and everything. I like Roy as well. Binding Blade is great. After looking through everything, this is definitely a very worthy candidate, a very worthy game to be remade with modern graphics and modern gameplay systems along with what they're doing here. Heck, a lot of the systems that they already have there is already modern. It just needs to be brought over to the present day when it comes to Nintendo Switch and what that system can do. I think it would be absolutely spectacular. So what do you guys think about this when it comes to a Fire Emblem game getting the Echoes treatment? What would you like to see, and what do you think about Genealogy of the Holy War potentially getting that treatment? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for this RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.